into every aspect of this, and force protection, ensuring that CENTCOM has whatever it needs and that they're taking the proper posture has always been number one in this effort. Last question.
Thank you, Secretary Hegseth. There's reporting that says U.S. intelligence indicates China is preparing weapons shipments to Iran during this ceasefire. What's your reaction? Are these reports accurate, and what would be the consequences for the Chinese if they move forward with these shipments?
Well, as you know, President Trump has a very strong and direct relationship with President Xi, and they communicated on that, and China has assured us that that indeed is not going to happen, and in the spirit of the meeting they'll have next month. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, there we have it, a live briefing from the Pentagon, bristling with confidence, bristling with firepower. We heard from the U.S. Secretary of Defense, a.k.a. Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, General Dan Kane, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, and Admiral Cooper of the U.S. Navy. The main takeaway from Secretary Hegseth saying that the U.S. is maximally positioned, urging the Iranians to choose wisely, something he said repeatedly throughout his media appearance there. A direct message to the IRGC, the Revolutionary Guard in Iran, saying that we are watching you, we know what you are doing, and that we know that you don't have anything left to work with. We are locked and loaded. You don't have a navy. You can't control anything. Details, rigorous details from General Dan Kane. An update, obviously, on the naval blockade. He said that all ships, regardless of nationality, going into or from Iranian ports will be subject to U.S. power. Well, listening in to all of that alongside us here is Manuel Rapallo, live in Washington, D.C. for us. So, Manuel, extraordinary insight there into the way the Pentagon envisages prosecuting this war and, of course, its continual naval blockade. What are your key takeaways?
Good to be with you, Neve. Just to build on what you were saying following that lengthy press conference at the Pentagon, as you mentioned there, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff Dan Kane, as well as Admiral Cooper, the commander of U.S. Central Command in the region, who just returned from his visit to the region, saying how different it is today under the ongoing ceasefire than it was just a few weeks ago as combat operations were still underway. And just to build on what you were saying here, Neve, what we heard from Pete Hegseth here is that Iran has high incentive to not violate the ceasefire because of what would come, offering Iran essentially here an off-ramp, what Pete Hegseth referred to as a golden bridge, an opportunity for a prosperous future for the Iranian people if Iranian leadership at this point were to be moving forward with a comprehensive deal at this point. Pete Hegseth characteristically also diverted his attention toward the press, calling them the legacy Trump-hating press, calling them fake news, adding that at times he doesn't know whose side the U.S. media and any press that's critical of the Trump administration's handling of the ongoing conflict have been criticizing the administration. So again, very characteristic of the Secretary of Defense here. In no particular order, I'm going to go through a few of the things that did stand out to me. Admiral Bradley Cooper of Central Command said that the United States is rearming and readjusting capabilities, adding that our military partnerships, U.S. military partnerships, are stronger than ever, but failing to provide details over specifically what partnerships and what countries he was talking about there. Dan Kane of the Joint Chiefs of Staff spoke specifically, gave operational updates on the ongoing U.S. blockade, saying that, quote, U.S. action is a blockade of Iran's ports and coastline, not a blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, warning there that any ship that were to jump this blockade faces the risk of running into force by the U.S. military. Again, here, more than anything, operational updates, warnings for Iran not to violate the ceasefire, and showing hope that the ongoing U.S.-led blockade, which is now more than 24 hours into its operation, will be successful in twisting the arm and sort of forcing the Iranians at this point to blink first. This is essentially what we're hearing from leadership at the U.S. Pentagon. But again, here saying that the U.S. is ready for combat operations to resume at a moment's notice if and when the Iranians were to violate any portion of the ceasefire. One thing that I found notable here is actually what wasn't said, given the fact that Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth is facing mounting scrutiny here in the United States. Democrats on Capitol Hill in the U.S. House of Representatives this week filed impeachment, six separate articles of impeachment against the secretary related to the ongoing operations by the U.S. military in Iran, allegations of abuse of power, moving forward with military operations without congressional approval. Pete Hegseth also facing scrutiny over the firing of top military officials from the Pentagon during an active conflict. So again, there wasn't any mention of this. There weren't any questions related to the articles of impeachment against Pete Hegseth. But we should also note that it is very unlikely that we would see an impeachment of the Secretary of Defense under the current Congress. This does, however, highlight how polarizing this conflict has become here in the United States. Neve?
All right, many thanks for that.